And we're sitting there on this beautiful Cancun beach, and this poor, sad, drunken stranger is just telling me all of her deepest, darkest secrets. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to it if this is the first time you're seeing my face. Thank you for clicking on it. My name is Jacy and I like to do story times on this channel. Now today's story time happened just last week while I was on vacation, and truly as it was happening I kept thinking to myself, this can't be real because this is so outrageous. I cannot wait to turn on my camera when I get home and tell you guys about it. So this past week I was on vacation in Cancun, Mexico at an all-inclusive resort. Because I guess I'm a bougie bitch. But that's why I haven't been able to answer a lot of comments on a lot of my recent videos, because I have been on vacation and just kind of like off the grid. But that's where this story is going to be taking place. Now, if you want some more behind the scenes fun of my most recent travels, vacations, as well as my just regular day-to-day life here in my apartment, consider subscribing to my vlog channel, because I show you all of the actual goings on and less edited sit down kind of stuff, but more of just my day-to-day life. So if you like me and hanging out with me, consider subscribing to that channel. But if vlogs aren't your thing, and you like just sitting down, hanging out with me and chit-chatting in the comments about certain topics relating to whatever we're talking about in this video, consider subscribing to this channel, because I would love to have you guys back here again. But with that being said, let's get started on this crazy story time about this drunk girl who just poured her heart out to me while on vacation in Cancun. All right, so like I mentioned, I was staying at an all-inclusive resort in Cancun, Mexico. Now, when they say all-inclusive, they mean it. Let me just tell you this. I don't think I will ever do an all-inclusive resort again, because I personally cannot practice moderation. And so when I see like a buffet of food or an unlimited menu where you can just order everything, drinks and bars wherever you go, where everything is just absolutely free, I don't know how to control myself. So for the entire week, I was extremely bloated. I could have puked every day from eating so much. And I was pretty much intoxicated the entire time, because they just hand you drinks everywhere you go. It's wonderful. I'm not saying like, don't go. It was such a great opportunity to be able to go, but like, I don't know how to control myself. But I wasn't the only one, because by day 2 of being at this resort, we kind of learned that the specific resort where we stayed was where a lot of honeymooners go, because, you know, it takes away all the guesswork out of where do you want to go for dinner? What do you want to do for activities? What should we get to drink? Because everything is included and it's just widely available everywhere you walk. So we ended up meeting a lot of different couples on the trip, and it was kind of like every different couple that you met, it seemed like everybody there was on their honeymoon. And I was going with a group of friends that were all couples, and so it's kind of interesting to see like the different types of trips people take and how they really treat these vacations, because people were getting turned. So one of the events that happened every single night at this resort was a discoteca, which was basically a nightclub. And if there's a dance floor, you can find me there. So my group of friends and I, we all head to the discoteca at night, and we walk into this really cool theater, and you know, they have neon lights going, but what's also interesting is that they had a bunch of like leather sofas everywhere and a lot of seating. So it wasn't just a single dance floor. It was kind of like you could sit and watch, or you could get up and dance in your own little perspective areas. So it didn't feel like this giant dance floor. It kind of felt more like segmented dance areas, if that makes sense. So of course we get a drink or 2 or 3 or 4. Or 5. And we are just having the time of our lives. We are all pretty decently drunk, just having a good time, vibing to the music, just full on like, you know when you just full on lose neck control and it's just, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. What? I'm trying not to puke? Noted. So I get to the point where I'm like, all right, I've had enough to drink. I'm starting to not feel well. And that's when I start sobering up. So I start sobering up, drinking my water, and that's when I notice the other people at the discoteca. And there was one couple in particular who will be the main characters of this story. Now, it was a woman and a man who were very, very, very clearly in love, but also very, 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 very clearly drunk off their asses. This girl, she was so beautiful. She had like long flowing hair. She had like a beautiful dress on. He was all dressed up, and they were just absolutely hanging off of each other like high schoolers in love who just learned how to French kiss. Their tongues were a-wagging. We could see every part of their mouths as they were making out on the dance floor. She's got like her leg like propped up in his arm, and he's holding onto her leg as they're like dancing on the dance floor. But again, because it's an all-inclusive place, everybody is like on that level, or actually nobody was on that level, but everybody was like in the drunk kind of realm. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone to this discoteca. Nobody was like, oh my God, go back to your room. Like, that is so indecent and disgusting. Everybody else there was there on their honeymoon, so it's like they were all kind of doing the same thing. So we didn't really pay them any attention. But as the night continues, it was getting harder and harder not to notice them because it felt like they were drawing a lot of attention to themselves. First, it was because they were just full-on playing tonsil hockey on the dance floor, but then they had clearly gotten into a fight and almost had wanted everybody to know about it. So what I mean by that is there was kind of this stage in front of everybody where all the chairs were turned towards, and the guy was like leaning against the stage with his arms crossed in the very center, and the girl was way off to the side at a chair. And she was over at the side, kind of messing with her purse, but being very pouty. And so, it felt very high school where he was just being like, and then she was over off to the side fixing her purse, being like, but insert like other words there. So because my friends and I were like starting to sober up, we were kind of just like watching them as if it was our own little soap opera, being like, uh-oh, they're fighting now, what's going on now? Because then within 5 minutes, they were back like magnets, making out super hardcore on the dance floor. I also forgot to mention, I have video evidence of a lot of this story so that you guys actually believe me that these things happen. And one of the things I recorded was this next part. So they are back to dancing and making out and being really sloppy and losing all their balance and control. And so that's when both of them hop up on the stage. So right away when that happens, I pull out my phone because in my head, in the States here, if you jump on stage, you're either getting told by the bouncer to get down or you're getting kicked out because it's like, all right, you guys are way too drunk, time for you to go home. So these two hop on the stage and just start like full on dancing again, having a great time. And it is very visible that they are hammered. And the bouncer walks up to them and starts cheering them on. And he just starts being like, yeah, get it, woo, woo. And so that's when I was like, oh, they're egging them on. Like they are letting them be intoxicated on stage. And so then I was just kind of like, all right, well, as long as they don't fall, like as long as everybody's having a good time. But then it kind of started the party even more because people were like, what? We can go on stage? So then other people go up on stage, they're dancing, they're having a good time. And it was kind of like the party almost got reinvigorated by them jumping on stage and having a good time. But of course, the soap opera continues because they jump off stage and head to the bathroom together. So my friends and I, we see this and we see them walking to the women's restroom together and we were like, they're about to go into the bathroom right now and hook up and not even try to hide it. Like I haven't done that before, but I feel like if you're gonna go into a bathroom and hook up, you gotta at least be like sly about it. Like one person going at a time, the other person kind of keeps a lookout, sees that nobody's looking, and then sneak in. No, they were like hanging on to each other, making out, being like, hey, let's go frick frack in the bathroom right now. And so again, I'm looking around at like these resort workers and they don't care. Like they're not really looking as much as we are. They're just there to make sure everybody's having a good time. And in my head, I'm thinking like, oh, she could be in there like puking and he's holding her hair back. But that was quickly outruled because I was like, well, did I mention that I'm nosy? So of course I needed to know what was going on because this became my entertainment for the night. I was done being super drunk. My feet were tired. I was done dancing. This was my Netflix for the night. I needed to see where this soap opera went. So I went to the bathroom and I was like, well, I'm gonna go wash my hands and fix my hair because that's something I need to do right this second. So before we hop into the next bit, I'm gonna do a little shameless self-plug and tell you guys to go follow me on social media. I am on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I've been taking a lot of trips, vacations, and doing some really cool events here in the city. So if you like that or just hanging out with me a little bit more, make sure you guys are following me on social media. But let's get back into the story. So I went to the bathroom, and what was really interesting is that the bathroom was like half gender neutral. So what I mean by that is they had like the women's side and the men's side, but those were just the stalls. But both bathrooms shared like a line of sinks, and then on the other side of the wall of sinks were a bunch of couches. So it was kind of like, because they went in there together, it actually wasn't that suspicious because it was essentially a shared gender neutral bathroom. It was kind of just more of like implied that women go pee over here, men go pee over here, but you're still all gonna wash your hands right here, like sit in this area, so we don't really care. So at that point I was like, oh, like maybe they didn't go into the restroom together, or maybe they like didn't go and hook up, that they went to their prospective stalls or whatever it was. But it's like, a toilet's a toilet. Who freaking cares what toilet you use, you know? But they come stumbling out of the bathroom and her dress is like unzipped from the back. Wait, was she wearing a dress or like a shirt and shorts? Let me look. All right, I just went and checked the footage to confirm. So she wasn't wearing a dress. She was wearing shorts and like a corset top, but then a long flowy like outer shirt, if that makes sense. That's why I thought it was a dress. But what I vividly remember from this bathroom little scene, the next shoot location of this movie in my mind, was that her shorts were like tucked into that flowing shirt and were completely unzipped and kind of falling off. And she, this part I have to like be careful on YouTube. She goes to the sink, stumbling of course, and I see like full boobie, full areola, full nipple, just completely hanging out of her shirt. And it's not until she gets to the sink and looks in the mirror that she's like, oh shoot, and like tucks it back in. And then she like, their boyfriend is like helping her zip up her shorts. And so it was clearly like, yeah, when I puke, I'm not disrobing my shorts and my shirt. So yeah, something for sure happened in that bathroom. But you know, I don't want to judge. They were having a good time. At this point, it had gotten to the point where I was just like, all right, I just want to make sure you guys kind of get home okay. You're not doing too hot right now, and I just want to make sure nothing else sketchy goes on, you know? So again, this bathroom had like a nice velvety couch. Ew, which is like, I don't think I would want to sit on a velvet couch in a restroom. That just sounds like a cesspool of bacteria. But, you know, they had just finished doing the deed, I guess. I don't know what they were doing. I don't want to say that that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing though, right? Come on. So they both go and they lay on this velvet couch, and it kind of looks like that they're about to pass out. And so they kind of sit there, but they both go on their phones, and she starts trying to like fix her purse again or whatever. And so I was just kind of like, all right, show's over. They're probably gonna like pass out there. I'm gonna head back outside, maybe come back in and check on them in a little bit, just to make sure they're like okay and safe. So I go back out with my friends, you know, I continue dancing, but I have my eye on the restroom door the whole time. And that's when I see the boy exit the restroom. And so I was kind of like, oh, that's weird. Like he left without her. He comes out of the restroom and exits the entire club. Like he leaves the club. And so I'm like, oh, I guess they're ready to go, but she's not really with him. That's kind of odd. So about another like 3 to 4 minutes pass, and I'm thinking like, I'm gonna go in and check on her because she hasn't come out of the bathroom. Again, I don't want to sound like a stalker, but this was my entertainment. So I was like, uh-oh, what's happening now? Like, why didn't she leave with him? But within 4 minutes, she comes out of the bathroom, and it was kind of heartbreaking to watch, but she comes out of the bathroom and is looking around, clearly unaware that the boy she came with had exited the entire place. So if the exit's on this side of the entire club, she kind of circumnavigates the entire club starting this way. So she goes this way, and we watch her open up a door that was clearly a staff door because it let in so much light and fluorescence. And she looks in there and she's like, oh, that's not right. Goes to the next bar. It's kind of like looking over the bar, around the bar. She goes back up to the stage, ends up going on top of the stage, and is looking around for him. So this poor girl is standing on stage looking for the guy that she came with, who she just hooked up with the bathroom with, who laid on a gross velvet couch in the restroom with, and couldn't find him. And that's when you kind of just see her defeated, slump over, heels in her hand, broken purse in her hand, and just start walking towards the exit. And that's when my girl code mentality kind of kicked in, because I was like, I can't let that girl walk back to her room alone. Like, she's clearly very intoxicated. And even though it was like an all-inclusive safe resort, I don't know, I'm never comfortable watching women like go off on their own in that type of drunken state. So I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna head out. I'm just gonna go make sure that that girl gets back to her room safely. So that's when I kind of chased after her, and we both met at the elevator. And that's when I recorded this next part. You good?
Up or down?
I'm going up.
Okay.
Okay, so you were with your boyfriend. Where'd he go?
Up.
Up? He left?
He left.
What the heck? I saw you guys in the bathroom. Why'd he leave you?
I broke my purse. He wasn't down with me hanging out trying to fix it.
So he just left?
He just left.
Can you get to your room okay? You want me to come with you?
I'm okay.
All right.
I'm sure he's in the room.
So as you can see, or hear, I guess, she says that she was in the bathroom trying to fix his purse, and that he got mad at her for trying to fix her purse right then and there, that he just got up and left. So that's when I kind of stopped recording, and I tried to talk to her earnestly, and I was saying like, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? And she was like, no, I'm fine. Sorry to interrupt. I filmed the next couple of minutes completely out of focus on accident, and while I was editing it, it was just bothering me too much. So I'm just gonna refilm the next couple of minutes before it gets back into focus. So carrying on with the story, I'm in the elevator with this girl, and we are gonna call her Christine because She at this point was like very clearly upset and very sad. And so I was just like, hey, like, what's your name? You know, doing that drunk girl thing where you befriend everybody and it's like, oh my God, you're so pretty. What's your name? We should be BFFs. That's basically like what it was in the elevator. But we exit the elevator and we get off on the same floor. And before she starts walking back to her room, we're still kind of chit-chatting to the point where we kind of take a few steps out of the elevator and end up standing and talking there for maybe a whole 5 minutes. But it was the most interesting 5 minutes of my entire trip. And mind you, I was at an all-inclusive Cancun resort, so that's saying something. So Christine is obviously very intoxicated, and she kind of starts like word vomiting, as one does when they are that inebriated. And I don't even want to say I was like egging it on, because I definitely like to interview people and therapize them, but I for sure kind of wanted to make sure she was in an okay state of mind, because I know how it is when you're that drunk and you're upset at your partner. You're gonna go back to that room and kind of start a fight. And I didn't really want that for her, so I wanted her to get it all out, if that makes sense. So I was asking her like, hey, like, are you sure you're okay? Like, has this happened before? Is everything going to be okay? And that's when she kind of starts word vomiting. Now, I'm not gonna give away all of her secrets, because I don't want to put this anonymous person on blast, because I don't know if she's gonna see this. She kind of breathes this heavy sigh and just like, yeah, like, this happens all the time. We're always fighting. We're always disagreeing. And kind of goes into like how this happens all of the time and how it's not completely out of the norm. And so I'm asking like, well, when you go back into that room, like, are you guys gonna fight some more, or are you just gonna go right to sleep? And luckily she kind of framed it in a way of, no, it's gonna be totally fine when I go back in that room. Like, we're not gonna fight. We're just gonna go to bed because this happens all the time. And so I probably shouldn't have said this, but I made the off comment of like, this happens all the time. Like, is that okay with you? And she kind of made like the comment of, well, I married him, so it's gonna have to be okay. And I was like, Christine, no, like, you don't deserve that. And even though she was in like this drunken stupor, and I really just wanted to be like, yes, girl, divorce him. You wanna go get pina coladas on the beach? Girl, let's go. Dump his ass. You will be my beach buddy for the rest of the trip. That's not what she needed at this point. She was clearly very sad, and I didn't want to bring her to tears, because drunk girls are very on the verge of tears at all times. I'm speaking from personal experience. But I didn't want to be like, oh no, let's dive into that trauma. Let's talk a little bit more about that. What she needed in that moment was to not only get back to her room, I was kind of holding her up a little bit, but she just wanted to know that everything was okay. And so here I am talking to this drunk girl at this beautiful all-inclusive resort, and I'm like, Christine, it's going to be okay. You did not make the wrong choice marrying your husband, and everything is going to be all right. You're gonna have a wonderful rest of your honeymoon. You guys aren't gonna fight for the rest of the trip. I can't promise that you're not gonna fight for the rest of your eternal lives now that you've promised each other that to each other. But you guys are gonna have a great rest of your trip, and you deserve it. And so again, she was very intoxicated, but it kind of made me sad that she was having those drunken thoughts of like, did I make a mistake? Like, should I have married this man? Is this what the rest of my life is going to be like? And I kind of didn't want her to have those feelings on her honeymoon. You can have those feelings when you get back home, Christine. So I walk her back to her room, and I give her a big hug, and I say, like, Christine, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your honeymoon. Like, you deserve it. You deserve to be happy. And I hope everything goes so smoothly. And she was like, hey, thanks for everything. Like, thanks for the chit chat. I really needed that. And off she went. Now, the most interesting part about this whole story is that obviously it's a very small resort. And I just kept thinking, like, I'm obviously gonna run into her for the next few remaining days that I'm here. And sure enough, the next day I go down to the pool, because that's where all the events and activities are. And I see Christine and Gerald just back to making out in the pool. And this is at like noon, so I know they're not trashed. At least they didn't seem super trashed. They just seemed like happy in love again. And they just seemed like this was the best week of their lives, that they were just so happy to be in each other's presences, that it truly felt like the night before could have been a fluke. I don't really know. I'm not the one to judge. But what was so interesting is that I made eye contact with Christine, and I was gonna go talk to her and be like, hey, is everything good? Everything okay? And when I made eye contact with her and kind of gave her a wave, it was as if she didn't recognize me. And that's when I realized everything she told me the night before, she was probably completely blacked out and drunk, that she recognized me, but probably didn't fully remember our entire conversation, because she gave me like one of these, like, and I was like, bitch, you just poured out your heart and soul to me and we had a full-on heart-to-heart. And all I got was a little wave. And I truly just think it was because she was just too drunk. She didn't remember the wonderful night we spent together. Which I think is a good thing because she probably woke up the next day fully in love again, fully embracing her honeymoon and realizing that, hey, you know what? Maybe Gerald is the one for her. But that's it. That's all that happened. It's not like I was going to go pull her off to the side and be like, hey, do you want to rehash the fact that you hate your husband now that you're sober? You want to get into that again? No, I'm not going to bring that up. She was happy and it was kind of like we were back to being strangers again. But I just found this story so fascinating. Watching this soap opera unfold in front of me, befriending the main character, getting all of her secrets, but then pretending like nothing happened in the morning. It was just so interesting how alcohol works, how vacations mess with your psyche, and how easy it is to befriend people when you're stuck on an all-inclusive resort with a husband who left you high and dry alone in a nightclub. Crazy times. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think it was a red flag that he left her? Do you think that she was just being overly dramatic because she was drunk? Do you think that I'm over-dramatizing the story and that it really wasn't a big deal or anything? I don't know. I just definitely wanted to tell you guys because I thought it was so crazy how she just fully unloaded onto this stranger. I mean, I did kind of like egg her on and entice her too, but it was just a weird little tidbit from my vacation that I had to tell you guys. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know any weird drunken encounters you have. And let me know if you think Christine made a mistake marrying Gerald. Hard to say. We don't have all the information. But I also won't be revealing all of her secrets on the internet, even though she probably won't ever see this, but you never know, you never know. But again, I thank you guys so much for tuning in to this story time. Again, make sure to go subscribe to my vlog channel if you want to see some more of the behind the scenes of the vacations that I've been taking because they've been super fun. But thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Toodles! Oh, I just hit my foot so hard on my chair. This part. I don't know what this is like the funny bone of your foot, but I just hit it so hard on my chair. Ugh. Also, yes, my socks are Santa with sunglasses on because I'm cool.